Hello, everyone. It is week 8 of our 9-week challenge. A couple of quick announcements before I get started on the education for tonight is that next week you'll check in for week 8. And then when you do your final check-in for week 9, you'll have 2 check-ins. You'll have one for the week and one for the overall challenge. So make sure you do that. And thank you, everyone, for being a part of the team, fighting for more in 2024. And I don't know how you're feeling, but I'm feeling better and better each and every day. It's a slow but steady race. And it's very important that we watch our nutritional intake and our diet as we go through life. So I stumbled across an interesting article today from Dr. Mercola, who said that the keto diet and being very, very low in carbs might not be as advantageous as he thought. And he's been one of the biggest advocates for the last 30 years. He's done some newer research, and I was hoping to read a few things to you about some of the research that he's done. So bear with me a moment, please. He says that there are hazards of not having enough sun exposure and enough vitamin D. He confers with what I had consulted with a functional doctor many years ago about, that your vitamin D levels, even though your doctor may say it's normal, probably need to be more in the 60 to 80 range. He also talked about the hazards of too much omega-6 fat, and omega-6 are found in vegetable oils, seed oils, and those types of oils will cause massive oxidative stress and lower your metabolic rate, which will prematurely age you. So that's why a lot of the fast foods and everything can be very, very harmful. He also said that too much of the omega-6 will damage the cell linings in your blood vessel. It causes impairment and increases your risk of Alzheimer's disease. It strips your liver of glutathione, which lowers your antioxidant defenses, and it impairs your immune function and increases mortality. It also makes your fat cells more insulin sensitive, so be careful about those oils. He said fish oil supplements are a bunch of garbage, although he did recommend cod liver oil, which I was telling someone earlier today that my mother used to give me a teaspoon of cod liver oil every day. And the reason he's changed his mind about low carb diets is based on the work of Ray Peat and his student Georgie Dinkov, that eating a low carb diet long term is the best way to optimize your metabolic and mitochondrial health. But he said he might have been misguided because the reason is the fact that your body requires glucose, and if you aren't eating it, it will go into a hypoglycemic coma. So, and then he also talks about cortisol contributing to glucose balance. So there's always a fine balance between having too many carbs, what types of carbs you have, whether you have fruits, vegetables, or bread, and gluten, which is not really good for you. So there was a lot of really good up and coming things. He also talked about fasting. He said that a useful strategy, especially for people who are overweight, is not to eat for 12 hours a day. And he said definitely be done eating 3 to 4 hours before you go to sleep, because then it gives your body time to recover. And it also helps your circadian rhythm. So if you're having a hard time getting to sleep, you might want to look at how late you ate prior to going to sleep. He also says that aspirin is still beneficial and that it lowers your cortisol levels, and it helps increase testosterone and progesterone, which are two of the most important sex hormones in the body. And it increases your metabolism by uncoupling the mitochondria, which helps in weight loss. And it may decrease the risk of COVID death by 50%. and it also helps to normalize blood pressure. So I thought that was really an interesting little nugget that came across my news wire today. The other thing I wanted to talk about was draining your lymphatic system. There are different herbs and supplements that you can take to drain your lymphatic system. But another way that you can do it is if you get on a rebounder, you have to weigh 250 pounds or less for those, but they're mini trampolines, and bouncing up and down for 10 minutes a day will help to drain your lymphatic system. Also, dry brushing. If you buy a dry brush and you brush towards your heart, so you start from your feet and move up towards your heart, and then you move down your arms. You can go under your armpits and your breast and just keep moving it to the heart. So I thought that was some interesting little health nuggets I came across just in the last few days. And also yoga is very good for draining the lymphatic system. So I thought that was interesting. So this week, I wanted to keep the conversation fairly short. I wanted to ask what everyone has learned so far in this most recent challenge, what your struggles have been, and what your wins have been. So Michelle, I'll let you go.
So my struggle is always figuring out how much activity, how many carbs can I have, how much is too much, how much is too little. So just tracking is so amazing because it helps me to balance out the activity versus my food intake. So that's always a challenge. If I don't track, I can't manage that as well in my brain or just writing it down. So I like the Carb Manager app for that. I find that if I'm at high activity, I can do 30, 40, 45 carbs, right? If I want to maintain my current weight, if I want to lose weight, obviously I can't do that.
Well,
And
the tracking also, I think a lot of people don't realize that it's not being perfect every day. It's like looking at your last week. So maybe you were low on carbs and then you were high on carbs. It's kind of a balance. I mean, nobody is ever going to be perfect in the tracking, but the tracking for me is very educational.
I agree. I think tracking is important. And
How is your hydration coming?
I'm so busy. I just need like a backpack with a straw when I'm teaching a lot. So like I have to catch up at night, which is good because I just finished wolfing down a salad for dinner and I have to cut off my eating, right? I try not to eat so late, but some nights it is 9 or 9:30. It's just the nature of my job. I'll eat at like 1 or 2 and then do a snack at 3 before I'm really busy and then maybe eat at 8 on a Zoom or something. So
Right.
yeah.
Well, again, if you can try to get your food intake within 3 hours before you go to sleep, that's in your best interest. Also
Right.
helps with acid reflux or GERD or anything like that if you have any of those types of issues.
When we eat late at night, our blood sugars can do this all night long. But if you cut it off, your blood sugar stabilizes before you're at rest. It's amazing. You can even eat something low carb and healthy, but it can definitely, when you're sleeping, your body is needing to do other things, not
Agreed.
digesting food. So it's always a
I
good.
read an interesting article a couple of months ago saying that laying on your left side stretches out your organs and avoids gastric reflux more than laying on your right side. So it's kind of interesting, all of the research and everything, and people are just more and more aware, if you will.
Right.
So trying to keep cleaner, healthier diets. So what has been your win so far in this challenge? We just started week 8. We've got 12 days left.
Right. I don't eat perfectly when it's winter. I want to just sit inside and eat and not work and not do anything, but we have to go to work and we have to be active and we have to still watch what we're eating. So it's been cold and snowy and
So is
snowy.
that your
and cold.
win?
My win is that I've not put on weight.
Perfect. Perfect. So you're staying true to fighting for more in 2024, it sounds like. So
Right.
that's
But if I want to
wonderful.
lose weight, I have to get a bit more serious and not have a cheat day when your daughter visits town or, you know,
Well,
those,
you can have minimal cheats without going whole hog.
right.
And we talk about that a lot on this challenge and other challenges. So, my win has been that I definitely feel inflammation coming down in my body. I can feel it in my clothes. I can feel it internally. I don't know how much weight I've lost. It depends on when I step on the scale. If I've lost a bazillion pounds or not an ounce. So, but I have lost an inch and a half in my waist. And somebody came up to me yesterday and said, "Wow, you look like you've lost a lot of weight." And I tell people all the time that it's not necessarily a scale loss as much as an inflammation loss. So I'm going to try to get on one of those scanners in the next few weeks and see how much visceral fat I've lost, because I think that's a really good indicator as well. My challenge has been um, hydration this time, because I moved my office to the second floor and I don't have a refrigerator or anything up there. That may change soon. And I don't have any access to water. There's no plumbing upstairs. So that's been my biggest challenge, although I have been tracking and I've been setting my alarm like in 3 hours if I haven't drank anything and my alarm goes off and I look at my calendar and I don't have a meeting, it's like, okay, you need to start drinking some more. And like another team member had mentioned before, I try to drink 8 ounces of water first thing right out of bed. And I'm finding that that's really helping how I'm feeling. So tracking has been interesting to me because I'm not perfect on the carbs according to the keto thing inside of the app. But if I'm over, I may be over like one carb or something. It's not anything that I'm losing sleep over. I'm not going whole hog. Today I started the day out really, really being very sinful. And I thought, well, and interestingly, I was really satisfied, so I really didn't need much to eat for dinner. So I backed off and had the whole hog in the middle of the day, which is not usual, but what I'm finding, and the Dr. Merkel article that came out today was interesting. What I'm finding is the days where I do maybe have more carbs than normal, that then the next day when I kind of back off a little bit and kind of get more regulated and eating more colorful vegetables, maybe eating a half of an orange here and there. Nothing crazy, but I'm finding that when I do that, that I actually do start to lose weight. So I think sometimes it's good to give your body a
Right.
rest from the keto diet, like what he was talking about.
Right.
Any questions?
No questions. I think my other win is I started this challenge sick again. And I was sick for a long time, pushing through. And then I got better and then I got another cold, but I'm feeling really good. Like just eating clean helps us to fight immunity, all our supplements and movement and yeah.
So our galaxy, which is loaded with phytonutrients, and also our muscadine drops, our Emphyte oil is really, really good. And I've been taking 3 droppers of that in the morning first thing. So if I'm out and about, I feel like I'm a little bit more protected. And the drops actually have tocotrienols in it, which also amplifies your immune system. So those are some good things to have on hand. Of course, the silver.
Well, that's always good. So I was using everything, but my Galaxy came in with the buy one, get one. And I've been
Oh,
on Galaxy about what, like 10 days now? And it helped me just totally turn the corner.
it's an amazing product.
It
There's
is.
probably in our back offices, we probably have 8 or 9 different research papers and testimonials about our galaxy. So it's an amazing product, and I think it's good value. And I started out not liking it too much, but now I've kind of built up a tolerance to it, and it's just a shot, it's like a
Right.
shot of cod liver oil or 2 teaspoon or whatever, but it's really good. All right.
So Mercola doesn't think we should take any fish oil supplements at all?
He said most of them are very processed
Yeah.
and not really good for you. He said take some pure cod liver oil, like a spoonful, like what
Mhm.
mom gave me when I was a kid. Um,
She didn't give me that.
but he did say that if it smells awful, that it's rancid and you shouldn't take it. So I think I forwarded the article to you earlier today, but he had some good information about that. But fish oil, no. And it's interesting because I was reading another article and it was something that Bill and I discussed years ago, but the wild caught fish, the way that fish is caught in the wild is there is a certain amount that legally they're supposed to only take out of the ocean.
Mhm.
And fish will naturally eat things that are really good for us. And so the farm raised fish is normally fed corn
Right,
to fatten it up and make it more oily, just like cattle, just like chicken, just like pork
right.
is. And most of that corn is GMO processed.
Mhm.
And so, because when you harvest corn, it has to be in the storage bins without a lot of moisture and everything. And so they have biologically, genetically modified it so that farmers can get more yield for their crops and therefore make more money. So I I stay away from the farm raised stuff. I read an article the other day that said that farm raised tilapia is some of the most toxic fish you can eat.
Mhm.
So I buy tilapia from my local fish market and I ask them if it's farm raised. They're like, no, 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 no. It's not farm raised. It's wild caught. So and what's interesting is a local fish market rotates the fish, which makes sense because some fish are in their reproduction stage, so they're not farming or they're not taking them out of the wild and they're letting them reproduce. And so it's just an interesting concept to me, but he did
Wild
say
caught
to,
can be hard to find here. But that's the only way I buy it is wild caught.
right, right, right. And even then you have to be careful that it's not caught in some parts of the world that are just putting toxic chemicals in their water. I mean, it eventually all floats together when you think about it, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
You just have to be careful. The other final thought I wanted to mention is I am reading everything I put in my cart. Even if I've bought it for the last 3 years, 5 years, 1 year, the food supply chain is changing with how they're preserving food. And unless their preservatives have been around for 10 years, I don't trust anything anymore. I
Right.
just don't. Just a personal bias I have, but I am reading everything. And so ingredients that I'm buying, if they have a lot of things in them, then I'm not eating them. So, like when I buy green beans, I want to see green beans. I don't want to see green beans, sulfur dioxide, and all this other kind of stuff. So, make sure that you're reading packages because what that does is it attacks the adrenal system, and that can be very icky for us too. So, read labels, keep marching on, and let's keep fighting for more in 2024. All right.
All right. Thank you, sis.
Have a great week.
Yeah. Everybody have
Bye,
a good week.
everybody.
Bye.